one thing that I was asking myself every single day was this. I love what I do. I give my best in everything that I do. But why is this happening to me? And every day I will complain, right? And sometimes when people actually ask me, hey, John, how are you? And when I think of how I'm feeling right now, I sometimes couldn't answer. I just say, you just got to excuse myself. But what really shifted was I saw a video of Steve Jobs. One word he said was this, one phrase that really touches my heart was this. He said, the heaviness of being successful is now being replaced by the lightness where I can be creative again. He said, you can never connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backwards.
Welcome to the Achiever Show, where our goal at the show is basically to gather top entrepreneurs, leaders, high achievers as well, to share with you powerful ideas on personal growth, from your mindset to your business, to your health, and also to your relationship. So I personally believe that knowledge itself is not power. Taking action is power. So our mission is to take complex ideas and basically to just break them down into actionable steps so that you guys are able to just take action and do something about it, okay? Now, in this pandemic, there are many entrepreneurs right now, especially SMEs, business owners. They are suffering a lot in their business. And this is why I always believe that this session here is extremely important for you guys, because we actually have a very special guest who is the expert of coaching business owners and entrepreneurs to thrive in challenging times. Okay, so the guest that I'm talking about is none other than Mr. Jonathan Quek. Okay, just a quick introduction about Mr. Jonathan. So Jonathan is the founders of Owner Circle, a business coaching community that serves close to 500 small business owners in Malaysia. As a speaker and a trainer himself, Jonathan has been invited to speak at corporations and institutions in Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, and even South Korea. He has spoken in many major organizations like Bank Negara Malaysia, Success Resources, CIMB Bank, Faith, and many more, right? And he has also shared the stages with many renowned leaders in business, such as Robert Kiyosaki, Richard Duncan, and Mary Buffett. So today, Jonathan focuses a lot on Owner Circle, as he believed that entrepreneurs are the one who truly change the world. And today in this live session, we will be speaking about the topic of how to actually build resilience in tough times and basically to turn pain into motivation. So Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Hi, Shu Yi. Thanks for having me.
All right, so Jonathan, to start off this show, maybe you want to share a little bit about your background and also a little bit about Owner Circle, why you do what you do.
Oh, sure. Thank you so much. So a bit about myself. What I do right now is I'm a business coach. I run a business academy called Owner Circle. I created this because I started my business around 11 years ago. And at that point of time, I was pretty lost. And as a first-time entrepreneur, I don't have any friends who are entrepreneurs. Most of my friends were employees at that point of time. This was 11 years ago, where you hardly see entrepreneurs in their 20s. I know today we see a lot of entrepreneurs in their 20s, like yourself as well, right? You're running your own business. You're taking charge of your destiny. But at the point of time, 11 years ago, hardly see entrepreneurs in 20s. And I realized that every time I needed help, I still remember I first spoke to a friend, right? That time I was almost bankrupt, really, super broke. And he was telling me, who asked you to go and do all this entrepreneur stuff, right? You yourself get yourself involved with all this trouble. And I realized that that's not the kind of advice I wanted. So I started to be very selective of my friends, and I started to hang out with entrepreneurs. And of course, I later on managed to build a business. On the fourth year of business, we managed to grow to around 100 million annual revenue as a group. And 6 years on the towards the 6th year of the business, something big happened and the business actually collapsed. And at that point of time, something really hit me as well is this. I realized that the entrepreneurship journey is a very lonely journey, because when times are bad, you really hardly have friends who you can really talk to, right? And as entrepreneurs, it's so tough because you still got to act strong in front of your employees. you still got to act tough in front of your partners, right? Or even your spouse. And you know that at the end of the day, when you have all these challenging times, you just got to swallow the bitter pill, and you just got to wake up every single day and face all these challenges. So at the point of time, I felt that my next thing I want to build is a platform where we can help entrepreneurs, especially small businesses, to level the playing field, to access to tools, to access to resources that the big boys have. And that's how I actually built Owner Circle.
I would like to start off with this question here, because when I first actually invited you up for this show, you shared with me that you are not going to act strong inside this interview session, because right now I understand that you are also facing some challenges right now, which is what I believe people right now, they want to be hearing, right? Basically, they want to be hearing the truth. They want to be hearing like raw, authentic stuff. So if you can, I would just like to ask you, currently right now, how is your business doing with the unfiltered version?
Yeah. So my exact words was, hey bro, what to share, man? Right now I'm also facing challenges. Right. And I don't think I'm in any position at this point of time to share what really works. Right. Because for the past few months, in fact, I think we saw slight in terms of our our revenue since February onwards. And for the past 2 months, I've actually been figuring, what actually works in current times. So yeah, I'm not gonna be filtering anything. Just gonna be honest and transparent. That our business was actually dropping since February. Yeah, since Chinese New Year, and we have been spending a lot of time figuring out how to change our offering, how to change our pricing structure, or even how to change our payment plans. Yeah.
Okay, great. So currently right now, because I know you are an entrepreneur and also you are a business coach as well. So definitely people, when they are lost in life, they actually look up to you for direction. So at this current moment, as you are currently struggling in your business right now, right? How do you actually feel? Like I'm sure you will definitely have times whereby you actually feel lost, you are in your worst state of mind. So could you share with us, like, how are you feeling right now at this moment inside this pandemic?
Sure. I think for the past few months, I've been feeling anxious. I'm not going to deny it. For past few months, it has been really challenging, because one thing about me is I like to try new things, right? Two things I'm passionate about: innovation and marketing. So what I always do is, the first thing I always analyze is your market. And when people come to me and they ask me, hey, my business is in trouble, my question is, can your market still pay, right? And does your market have any pain that you can truly solve right now? And is that pain even relevant today, right? So for my business, one of the things I also notice is small business owners are suffering. Unless you're a pharmacist or you are selling medical products, most of them, they're still okay, right? Interestingly, the other one that is doing well is snack industry. I noticed that the guys who are selling snacks, they are still doing very well, right? But overall, the rest, I see that most people are actually very challenged right now. So even for myself, I also noticed that the small businesses that I primarily serve, um, people want our services, but the biggest challenge right now is, how do I pay for it? All right. So that's the reason why I'm looking at new offerings, new payment plans, new financing strategies, right, to make sure that they can get these offerings even during these tough times.
Right. And just now you said that especially in times like this, you feel lost, you feel a little bit anxious, right? Because your business is not going so well. So how are you when you are actually feeling anxious? Do you like, because I know for some people, they sleep a lot when they feel anxious, or they just don't find motivation in the things that they do. So how are you like when you are really feeling anxious?
So when I'm feeling anxious, I always try to build back the right habits. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I always make sure that I build back the right habits. First thing I do in the morning, I make sure I do meditation first. I am a big fan of Tony Robbins, and he has this uh, process called priming, right? So every morning I kind of spend around 50 minutes plus doing priming. And then what I do is I then do my journaling. I really write down my thoughts, kind of put down my thoughts on what is troubling me, what are the ideas that I have, So I spend my first 50 minutes in the morning with my journal. In fact, got my journal here. Yeah. And yesterday, a good friend of mine, David Line, also gave me a new journal. These are the things that really keeps me alive, keep me sane. Write down my challenges, write down the ideas I have, and then what is the things I want to achieve for the day, and then just work the day out. I spend a lot of time today having meetings, and the reason why is because I believe in talking to smart people who are solving problems. Okay, these guys are solution driven. So what we do is I'm constantly getting together with people who I respect, asking them, hey, what are you doing now? What can we do together if you're in my shoes, what will you do? And just seeking solutions. So in the evening, generally, usually around 5:36, I'll go for a long run, sometimes a short run. Recently, because lockdown, so what I also sometimes do is go to my neighbor's house and play table tennis. It's a sport I just pick up doing this FMCO. Yeah. Yeah, and
Right.
at night, just reflect back to my journal and review, what have I learned and what can I do better.
Okay, so just now, you said that in the morning you will do this thing called priming. So could you just share a little bit about like what is the step-by-step process on how do you actually do priming in your own terms?
Sure. One thing I like about this priming process is this. I've tried meditation, and very often I kind of go back to sleep.
And basically there's a
So
difference
I've
between
tried different types
meditation
of
and priming,
meditation.
right?
I think it's different, right? I'm not expert in this. I'm not gonna act as if I know it very well, right? I kind of just practice it. So priming is an exercise where every morning the first thing you do is a 15 minutes process. The first 5 minutes you do this breathing technique. I learned it somewhere through another course that this is called fire breathing, right? So there's this breathing technique, and then what happens is after that you just go into feeling like there's a huge source of energy from the universe that's actually going into your body and then cleansing things up, right? Going out. And then after that, you start to go into this process where you ask yourself, no, what is the three things that I'm actually grateful for today? And it can be very simple things. It can be, yesterday, my girlfriend cooked me a good dinner. It can be even yesterday, my friend sent me a very encouraging message. Or like yesterday, David Lai gave me a journal. Or yesterday, my friend Michael Theo shared with me something that makes a lot of sense, right? And then after that, it's about envisioning. It's about visioning, no, what's going to happen for today, what's going to happen in the future. Yeah, so it's a very cool process. I find it very productive for me, right? Only 15 minutes, it sets my day.
Okay, great. So after you have done journaling and then you go, after you have done priming, then you go into journaling, right? So is there a specific process or what are some of the things that you ask yourself? What are some of the questions that you ask yourself when you are doing journalings?
So my journaling process is very simple. First thing I ask myself is, what am I truly grateful for today? And I always make sure I have at least three. And then the next thing I do is I look into what did I learn? What did I learn yesterday that can be applied today, right? And from there, from what I've learned, I then will list down some notes. I list down some observations. I start to do mind mapping. And then I start to plan my day, start to strategize, how can we move forward? And then the next thing then is, what do I want to achieve today? Yeah, so then I'll start to write some people call it to-do list. I like to call it to achieve list, right? So then I'll start to list my stuff in, then then I'll start my day.
Okay, so usually for priming and also journaling, it will take you around 30 minutes.
In total, yeah, around there. Yeah, I always
Okay.
like to spend the first half an hour of the morning with myself.
Okay, so I find that is actually very, very important because like many people, they have this misconception whereby they said that they don't have time for this all this morning routine because they need to go for work, they have a lot of things to do. But I felt like every one of us here, we all have 30 minutes. And when you are able to really spend 30 minutes to condition your mind, you will definitely be much more productive throughout the day. So I really like the fact that you said that you did priming and also you did your journals as well. Now, another question that I have for you is that as a business coach, I'm sure right now your business is also being affected very badly right now. I think for me as well, as a performance coach, my business has also been affected in one way or another. So definitely there are times whereby you feel down, and also at the same time, as a coach, you actually need to show up strong in front of your client. So usually, how are you able to deal with that, or how are you able to guide them through this process, or especially to go through this time here when people are right now, they are struggling?
I think the good thing about what I've been working on for the past few years is I've never positioned myself as a guru who know it all.
Yep.
I always position myself as a learner, and I have built a program called Growth Mastermind. So this is a program where I actually bring some of the market leaders. They are part of this program, and every single month we will discuss what works and what doesn't work. And from here, I actually gain a lot of source of inspiration. I gain a lot of ideas. And these are the things that we will all hold each other accountable to implement on one of the new insights that we have gained. So this is one thing that has helped me a lot as well, because I know one thing, especially in today's world, right, where things are changing not only on a monthly basis, sometimes on a weekly basis, and nowadays it's on a daily basis. If you read the news, this morning I received a news that says that you can't sell alcohol in the supermarket. This evening after my table tennis, I saw you can sell alcohol in the supermarket, right? Things are changing at a daily basis. So there's no formula that actually says that is proven to work, because the scenario is changing all the time. So I think it's very important to always have this learner's mindset. And although I am the coach, very often I am also learning from these entrepreneurs who I coach.
So just now you mentioned something about mindset. So I know right now there are many people, they are feeling very uncertain in times like this. So and I think you feel this, you feel the same way as well. So what are some of the mindset that you actually have that will allow you to really prepare yourself so that you are in the right emotion for you to start your day?
Right. If there's one mindset I always psych myself up, is this: entrepreneurs are paid to solve problems. So one thing I am always constantly looking for is solutions to what is the current problem that's relevant in the marketplace. So very often when I speak to fellow entrepreneurs, platform providers, I'm always asking, what is it that your merchants are facing right now? And what can we do together? If you can't do it alone, I can't do it alone. What can we do to serve the SME owners? And if we can't do it, let's bring another partner, right, to structure a solution. Because end of the day, I remember I met a friend, Chen Chao, right? Not sure if he's watching this. And he told me one thing that really hit me. He said, John, never fall in love with your solution, but be obsessed about the problem. So that has actually taught me something as well, because very often most entrepreneurs are very focused on my product. This is what I'm good at. This is what I'm passionate at. But at the end of the day, the market that who's paying you money, they don't really care what you love. They don't care what's your purpose. They care how can you solve their problems. So today what I do is I'm very obsessed with what is the biggest problem that the market is facing right now. And then what can I do, or what can we do? Who are the people that can bring in together to create a whole new solution for this entire market?
Okay, so I really love the point just now. I think Jonathan actually mentioned a very good point, which I actually wrote it down. Number one is to be obsessed with the problem, because customers don't buy your solution. They want you to help them solve their problems. Number two is that look for solutions to help your customers. And if you don't have the solution, look for collaboration. Look for a network who is able to collaborate with you and to really solve this problem together. I think that is a very, very important point. So John, I know right now this pandemic here, this crisis here, this is not your first time going through tough times in your own journey and in your own business as well. So could you share with us what is your biggest failure that you have ever faced in your entrepreneurship journey for all these years?
Right. If there's one experience that has helped me a lot to grow me as a person, it will be year 2015. So what happened was, as I mentioned, I started my business in 2010. We were in alternative investment. We were in financial education. We grew our business to 100 mil in 2014. In 2015, by October, we were already 110 million, right, in 10 months. And what happened was, I still remember the date. The date was October 26, 2015, where I suddenly received a call. And the call was the principal that we were working with, they have just filed for bankruptcy. And that actually happened 2 weeks right before my 30th birthday. And as a guy who has in my 20s built a 100 mil business, I always felt that, wow, the next thing I'm going to aim for is $1 billion. Right. And at that point of time, my ego was huge. I felt that nothing could stop me because everything I touched turned into gold. And when that happened, I still remember I flew to Singapore immediately to meet my Singaporean principal, right? And then we were brainstorming and all. And 2 weeks later, that was my 30th birthday. My staff, my team members came to my house. My best friends came to my house. We were celebrating, but that was actually a farewell dinner to my entire team. And that was a very memorable moment because everyone was smiling, but actually I knew one thing, everyone was very fearful inside. And I woke up the next day drunk, right, with a huge hangover. I didn't know what happened last night. And next day they showed me the video, and I was shocked because I was crying the whole night. And what happened next was 2016. I spent the entire year meeting lawyers, meeting clients, handling the entire crisis, not knowing what really happened. And that was really the toughest time of my life because that was the time when couldn't even face anyone. I had to take sleeping pills so that I could sleep at night. And sometimes you can't even sleep even after taking sleeping pills, which was horrible. Yeah. So that was the moment that really made me realize that entrepreneurship is not easy, right? And that was the time that really tamed down my ego and got me into the learner's mindset again. I think I've always been a guy who is always looking at what is there for me to learn. But at that point of time, it kind of really crushed my entire pride, my entire ego. Um, and that was the time when you kind of know your true friends are, right? And from there, I kind of spent 3 years hustling, thinking how to solve this problem, thinking, no, what can I do next? I had a very good friend. His name is Raymond. And he was like 40 that year. And I asked him, hey, bro, what's your next phase of life? What do you want to do next? And then he said, I want to serve entrepreneurs. He said, first half of my life, 20 works, I built knowledge. And next phase, and I felt very connected. And I said, let's do this together. Yeah. And that's how we actually started Owner Circle.
Right, amazing. So I was thinking, like, you said you spent the 3 years basically just going back up from the failures that you have faced previously. So in that 3 years, what did you do exactly to get out of the situation, or what are some of the mindsets that you have that really helps you to get out of those situations?
To be very honest, at that point of time, I was super negative. One thing that I was asking myself every single day was this: I love what I do. I give my best in everything that I do. But why is this happening to me? And every day I will complain, right? And sometimes when people actually ask me, hey, John, how are you? And when I think of how I'm feeling right now, I sometimes couldn't answer. I just say, just got to excuse myself. But what really shifted was I saw a video of Steve Jobs. Someone did a story of Steve Jobs posted on Facebook. And when I saw that video, it really touched my heart because Steve Jobs founded Apple at the age of 21. By the age of 24, he became a millionaire, right? And then after that, age of 30, he hired a CEO from Pepsi, and then he was sacked by the same CEO who he recruited, and then he went lost, right? So in that video, one word he said was this, one phrase that really touches my heart was this. He said, the heaviness, right, of being successful is now being replaced by the lightness where I can be creative again. He said, you can never connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. So when I saw that video, I started to change the questions I was asking myself. Rather than asking myself, why is this happening to me? I started to ask myself, why is it happening that is happening for me? Right? I'm sure that this failure that I'm going through is preparing me for something bigger. And every single day from then on, I started asking myself, why is this happening for me? What am I learning? What am I supposed to learn here? And I still remember that was the time when I then later on met a friend. And this guy, I have huge respect of him. And when I met him, and then he asked me to go to church. And I went, right? It's been years since I went to church. And then when I went to church that day, I still remember there was one moment where I actually collapsed, and I kind of cried, and I said, God, if there's something that you're preparing for me forward, right, please use me. Please let me be your instrument, right? I say I'm here to serve you wholeheartedly. Just let me know, what can I do? Yeah. And from the day onwards, when I start to surrender, and I say, I believe the universe or God has something for me, right? And there's something for me to learn. That was when things started to change.
Right. Okay. So I think you mentioned something very powerful, is that the quality that the quality of questions that you ask yourself basically will determine the quality of your life. So instead of asking yourself the question, why is it happening to me? Ask yourself the question, why is it happening for me? So I'm just curious, when you ask this question, why is this happening for me? And then as you look back in what you have experienced previously, as you connect the dots looking backwards, why do you think the reason you actually go through all these things in your entrepreneurship journey?
I think in fact, I just shared this conversation with a friend, David, who is watching this as well. I said that in my opinion, in my 20s, I did achieve a bit of success, but I was merely lucky. I never really had a formula. I kind of hustled everything through. And I shared that later on, when things fall and I had to rebound again, why I couldn't rebound is I never really had a formula, because back then I was just lucky. So when we started, I started few other businesses, started investing into businesses, started few businesses, and things just couldn't work out. And then later on, I when things start to work out, right? And then I realized, okay, I'm starting to grasp there's a certain pattern here, right? And this pattern, if I can repeat it in other industries, I test it out in some of my investees, and I realize, hey, it's actually happening again, right? They are seeing certain growth, and then they are seeing certain scalability. And then when I start to notice these patterns, these formulas, and then this is where I start to realize, hey, I am actually able to spot what works and what doesn't work. And today, when I speak to business owners, sometimes in 3 minutes, I can tell you, hey, what's your problem? You may tell me you have this problem, but actually, this is your bigger problem. And the reason why you're so drained every single day is because you're looking at this problem when your actual problem is this problem. That 20% that creates 80% of the results.
Right. That's really interesting, because I think that just now you mentioned something. You said that there is actually a strategy for you to rebound, and for you yourself, it has proven to work every single time. And right now you're able to implement this formula with other entrepreneurs as well. And right now, I think many of you guys who are right now who are listening to this, they will be very interested to really know what is this formula, what is this strategy for you to really rebound, because right now people, they are actually struggling. So what is the strategy for people to rebound in their business in times like this?
All right, there's a very simple formula that I use that I love to share with your audiences, is market message model, right? So the first thing I always look at is your market. Okay, can your market pay, and do your market have a certain pain? And the third thing I actually look at is this market actually big enough, right? Is it worth the time to go and serve this market? Okay, so if you guys are facing challenge right now, look into your current market. Okay, do they have enough pain? Right, what's the current pain in the market right now? And number two, can they pay? If they can't pay, you probably have to look into a new product offering that is probably lower price, right? That can serve them right now. Okay, so once I first look into the market, the second thing I'll look at is what is the message that actually connects with this market, right? That's where I start to bring up the pain, and then I start to look into if they don't solve this pain, what is the effects of this pain? Then I start to look into what are the options available for these guys. No, why should they choose you? And then from there, once I know why now, then that's where I look into how can we help them. And the third thing I'll look at is actually the model. What's the business model, right? By serving this market. So I believe that business model is not depending on industry. The next thing we got to look beyond industry is also which market are we truly serving, right? Then I start to study what are the models that is best built when it comes to this certain market.
Right. Okay. So three things: market, message, and model. Okay. I think that's very good because number one is that as you look through your market, look at what are some of the pain points that you are solving for the market. And I think one of the most important thing is that how can people afford your service, right? But at the same time, I also have one question is that I believe right now the paying ability definitely goes down in this pandemic situation right now. So what is your view on that?
My point of view is we are living in a very interesting time, especially right now, because number one, business owners are broke, right? Unless you're selling gloves, unless you're selling pharmaceutical, or unless you're in Bitcoin farming or Bitcoin mining, you are doing pretty well. Business owners are challenged. Unemployment rate is extremely high. The unemployment rate that the government mentioned is around 5%. I don't think it's true, right? I don't think it's a really official unemployment rate. The next thing that the market is facing right now is this year, the pivot plan has changed. Last year, everyone that can go online has already gone online. If today you're still not online yet, you're probably dead, right? You're probably looking for a job as a business owner. So Facebook ad cost is high. And next thing is, if you notice one thing is the market is very depressed. Okay, most people are very negative right now. I look at Facebook groups. Everyone is complaining about the government, saying we are where we are today because of the stupid government. And then people start to compare Malaysia to the US government. You see, like Biden took over and then everything is okay. So the market is also very negative. So I think at this point of time, if you're an entrepreneur, you got to look into how can you solve the problem in the market right now. So last week when FMCO actually came about, it started, I called my growth mastermind group and I shared with them few things. I said, if you guys are in B2C market, right? If B2C and B2B, we actually have different strategies. If you're in B2C market, the first thing you want to do is how do you create a new offering in the marketplace right now that people can afford? Okay. Affordability is the key. What can you do to create an outrageous offer that people cannot refuse? The number two thing that I actually suggested was this: go and explore new financing or payment plans, such as buy now, pay later. Right? There's few in the marketplace right now. Go and check them out. Right? So if you got a product that is 300 ringgit, how can you apply buy now, pay later so that these guys probably only pay 100 ringgit a month? Okay. The third thing I actually suggest is if you guys have tried going online, right, and ad cost is killing you. Today, most businesses are telling me the ad cost is between 30 to 50% of their total sales, right? I then suggest, since you're paying 30 to 50%, why not you take this margin that you are giving to Facebook and turn it into a referral model, or turn it into an affiliate marketing model, or if your business is a product business, turn it into a social selling model, right? This 30 to 50%, Give it to your customers to get them to be your key opinion consumers. Because if you notice, last 1 year, everyone went online. And then suddenly there's a lot of key opinion leaders, social media influencers, 100,000 followers, 1 million followers. All of them, they are posting tons of products on their Instagram and Facebook every single day. And people have gotten sick of them, right? So one of my suggestions is start looking into key opinion consumers, because these are the guys who consume your products. They hardly post about products, and then get them to become your ambassadors instead. Get them to share their experiences of consuming your products, right? And then you reward them as well. Yeah, so these are some of the strategies that I'm personally actually looking at. And these are some of the suggestions I actually gave to my Growth Mastermind members.
I think that is very, very useful for me as well. So just to do a very quick recap of what John has just said. Number one is to have an outrageous offer whereby someone just cannot refuse your offer. Number two is to explore new payment plans. How do people actually buy now and pay later? And number three is basically to explore the social model selling, which I think that is a very, very practical way for you to grow your business, because I think that when consumers really enjoys your product and they are able to help you to spread the word, I think that itself is even more powerful compared to you spending money on Facebook ads, things like that as well. So I really love this model over here. And John, if I were to ask you right now, right, during this time as an entrepreneur, what are some of the attributes or what are some of the traits that they need to have in order for them to survive this pandemic, and not only that, to even do better in this pandemic?
Well, I think we are at a time where you can't read any book that teaches you how to get through a third lockdown, right? I think at this point of time, number one, definitely mindset. Number two is skill sets. I always look at these two things. And the third thing is knowledge. And at this point of time, I kind of believe that the only way you can get through this crisis is the kind of friends you hang out with, the kind of conversations you're having. If you're going to spend an hour with talking to a friend, scolding government and all, right, you're going to waste your time and you're just heading for a death in your business. So I think at this point of time, it's very important to surround yourself with people who are constantly looking for solutions, discussing about ideas. I know times are tough right now. Everyone is negative. I get negative sometimes. I whine sometimes. I'll be very honest. But at the end of the day, I always put this on my wall. And I said, love what you do so much that you're doing a disservice to the world for not doing it. So make sure you surround yourself with the like-minded people, people who are obsessed about growth, people obsessed about opportunities. And this is where you get ideas.
Right. Okay. Very powerful stuff here. I think be obsessed with your growth, and also basically to surround yourself with the right environment so that all these people, they just keep on pushing you towards finding the solution. And maybe one day you guys are able to collaborate together as well. I think that is extremely, extremely powerful and important, especially in times like this. So John, I think definitely for me personally, I've gained so much from this session today. And I believe that some of our audience who are watching this, they have also gained a lot. And I know for some of our audience right now who are watching this, they are actually entrepreneurs. Some of them, they are even struggling in their business. So right now, if there's this one advice or one encouragement that you would like to give for all the entrepreneurs who are listening to this, what would that be?
There's one thing that I remind myself every day. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Because at this point of time, this is the time, if you notice, the big boys, many of them are also crashing. So this is the time where you will see the emergence of new businesses, new brands, right? If you guys are already quite established in your industry, please don't be the big boy who's going to crush, right? You will take this opportunity to look at how can you grow bigger. So one of the things I really like being connecting with some entrepreneurs, I get to see some of the big boys, how are they truly growing bigger during this period of time? By looking into the kind of problems in the market and how can they serve the market better. And these are the guys who really give me a lot of energy, give me a lot of ideas. And another group of guys are really the new up and coming ones, the rising ones, who notice that, hey, at this point of time, the big boys are already tired. The big boys have a lot of assets, right? They have heavy capex, heavy operating expenditure every month, right? They are stressed up. So this is my time, right? So remember this, I'll never let a good crisis go to waste.
Right. Okay. So I can see there's one question here inside the comment. David actually said, how do you determine what is big?
Right. So one guy been connecting a lot. I don't mention his company, his name. They have just transacted $1 billion last year. Right. So I think that's considered quite big lah for a Malaysian company, right? And they are not even public listed, they are a privately owned company. So he's one guy who actually inspired me a lot. I think I can mention his name. He's actually Pierre Pang from Mami, right? So recently been communicating with him a lot, and this, it's like through communication with people like that, who is constantly looking to solve problems. I think that is amazing. The energy is amazing.
Right. And I know right now, this is actually my last question, but then I'd just like to add on a little bit about one question that I have for you is that since we have mentioned that you hang out with a lot of big boys, you hang out with a lot of like different successful entrepreneurs to see how you can collaborate with them. What is the difference that you notice with all these people who are performing extremely well compared to the average people? What is the very big difference that you actually notice there?
One thing I noticed is they are constantly looking at, right, this market have this problem, but what are the new opportunities that's available? And it's through these conversations where we start to talk about this word, do you notice this? Did you realize this? Do you observe this? And it's through these fine details, right, where you get to spot opportunities. Yeah. So one thing I noticed is these guys are very different because they're proactive looking for solutions. And the reason why I think many companies are failing is because they say, let's see how lah, right? Whatever will be lah. Okay. So when you kind of have that kind of attitude, you say whatever will be, right? I would say, okay, Sarah, goodbye.
All right, very good, very well said. I said, because I think one of the things that I really learned, and I really love what you said just now, never let this crisis go to waste. So I know right now, yes, people are struggling, and for those of you who are watching this, some of you guys here, you guys might be struggling as well. At the same time, there are also people who are capturing this opportunity and they are playing big. They are taking risks. They are solving problems. So I would say that a lot of times what really separates entrepreneurs who are really successful is that great entrepreneurs, they are obsessed with the problems and they collaborate to look for a solution. I think that is also one of my biggest takeaway from you, John, as well. So John, I would really like to thank you for your time to be here on this show. And I believe that all the audience here, they are able to benefit from your sharing. And me personally as well, I have benefited so much from your sharing. So John, thank you so much for being on this show. And I really appreciate your time here.
All right. Thank you so much, Shu Yi. And for you guys listening, thank you so much for spending your Friday evening with us.